Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to take a simple, everyday object, a hammer, and use it to unlock a totally different way of understanding reality itself. Okay, so let's just dive right in with a question from the philosopher Martin Heidegger. Really think about it for a second. When you grab a hammer to hang a picture, what's your actual experience of the hammer? Well, here's the surprising and honestly brilliant answer. When you're in the middle of using it, you don't really experience the hammer as an object at all. It just disappears. And to get why that is, we've got to step into the workshop. So picture a skilled carpenter at work. The shop is busy, saws are buzzing, and she is just completely in the zone, totally focused on what she's building. As she's driving a nail into a piece of wood, her mind isn't on the hammer. She's not thinking, okay, this is a tool with a wooden handle and a metal head, it weighs about 16 ounces. No, her focus is completely on the task. The nail, the wood, the whole project. The hammer basically becomes a part of her arm. And Heidegger points this out perfectly. The better you are at using a tool, the less you actually notice it as a thing. It just gets absorbed into what you're doing. It's in that seamless, effortless use that the hammer shows us what it truly is. Not just an object, but equipment for a purpose. But what happens when that smooth, almost invisible flow gets interrupted? Maybe the head just flies off. Or you realize, you know what, this handle is way too heavy for these tiny nails. The second that happens, everything screeches to a halt. The work stops. And our whole relationship with that tool, it's completely transformed. Now, Heidegger actually had specific names for this breakdown. He'd say the tool becomes conspicuous. Suddenly, it stands out in a way it didn't before. It becomes obtrusive. Now it's literally in the way of what you're trying to do. Or it's recalcitrant. It's just stubbornly refusing to do its job. And this moment of failure reveals two totally different ways we encounter things in the world. On one hand, you've got the ready to hand. That's the hammer in action, the one that's transparent and just part of what we're doing. But on the other hand, you have the present at hand. That's the broken hammer, which is now just an object that we're staring at, analyzing its properties like its weight or its, brokenness. In that instant, that hammer is no longer for nailing. It's just a thing, a lump of wood and metal that we can now study, but it's totally useless for the job. It's been ripped right out of its practical, useful context. And this is where the idea gets really big, because what this shows us is that the hammer was never just a hammer, existing all by itself in a vacuum. Think about it. It only ever made sense because of all the other stuff it was connected to. The nails it's supposed to hit, the wood it's meant to join, the workbench it sits on, and the whole project it's a part of. Heidegger calls this whole web a referential totality. It's a bit of a mouthful, but the idea is simple. The hammer points to the nail. The nail points to the boards. The boards point to building a shelter, and that shelter points to a really fundamental human purpose. Having a place to live, a way of being in the world. This whole interconnected system, that's what Heidegger calls significance. See, for him, the world isn't just a big pile of random neutral objects. It's more like a giant workshop where everything has its place and its purpose, and it all relates back to us. So let's take this one step further and see how this all builds up to one of Heidegger's most famous ideas about what it means to be human. And this is it. Our most basic, fundamental state of existence is being in the world. We don't start out as these isolated minds peering out at a strange world of objects. No, we are always, from the get-go, already tangled up in this meaningful web of stuff. Now, Heidegger is super clear on this. When he says we are in the world, he doesn't mean we're just physically located inside it, like a marble rattling around in a jar. For him, in means to be familiar with, to dwell in, to be completely absorbed by it all. So what this means is that our main relationship with reality is as a participant, not some detached spectator. We understand the world first by doing things, by getting involved, by using our tools. Right up until they break, that whole scientific, objective observation of things, that actually comes second. Okay, so what's the big takeaway here? This isn't just some quirky philosophical theory about hammers. It's a really profound shift in how we think about meaning itself. The old way of thinking is that we are these subjects, right? And we look out at a meaningless world of objects and we assign meaning to them. Heidegger just flips that completely on its head. He says we are thrown into a world that is already soaked in meaning, overflowing with purpose and connections. Our job isn't to create meaning, it's to find our way around in it. And that brings us right back to you. Think about your smartphone the next time it freezes, or your car when it won't start, or even your keyboard when one of the keys gets stuck. In those moments of pure frustration, you're actually experiencing that Heideggerian shift. A tool that was a seamless extension of you suddenly becomes this stubborn, frustrating object sitting right in front of you. And it's in that little gap, that moment of breakdown, that you get a glimpse of the entire hidden world of meaning that you live inside of every single day.